Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Coach Yayoi with another episode of I'll Start on Monday. Today, my guest is a good friend of mine. His name is Josh Pettit. He is a Tony Robbins trainer, a CPA, and a global tax guru, and a fellow Star Wars fan. Yay! So, welcome, Josh.
Hello, Yayoi. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. And I know that we had talked recently, and I wanted to talk to you because I know you've always struggled with your weight health and you've had great success. And then you had a little bit of a rebound and all this, and then you're back on track again now. And so I wanted to talk about a little bit of that because I think, the start on Monday concept is familiar to you. So let's talk a little bit about you, the Start on Monday concept for you, and you could tell us a little bit about your weight health history.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, where should I begin? This has been a fantastic journey, lots of celebrations.
Yeah.
Technically, I did not start it on a Monday. I started on a Sunday, but very close to a Monday, March 1st of this year.
Okay. Okay, yeah, tell us a little bit about, what let's see, I know that about 5 years ago, you had lost a lot of weight, right?
Yes.
Um, and I think I forgot how much did you lose at that point?
Oh goodness, no, that's a whole story itself.
Uh,
Why don't I start there? That's a
Okay,
great place to
let's
start.
start there, yeah, and then
Yeah.
we'll go on to, how you've, revamped things,
Yes.
you had gained a little bit of it back, so you went on another journey, and I think that new journey started on March 1st, so let's start with what happened 5 years ago, and then we'll go to the March 1st story.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And my whole life has been a health journey. And you mentioned I've always had these interesting situations with my weight. Maybe that's not true. Maybe there was like the first week of my life, I was all good with the weight. But it's when I was a child, I grew up in the 1980s, full of lots of fun foods, all kinds of chemical foods and commercials that were so exciting to want to eat, like the Twinkies and all that stuff. And, I was a latchkey kid, and so you come home from school and you're just sitting around the house watching these, afternoon cartoons and eating the stuff. And Saturday mornings you wake up with a nice sugary bowl of cereal. So that was my life growing up, and Star Wars was a part of that too. And I think they even had some like Star Wars cookies and things like that, which made it even more exciting. So, yes, I did. I was chunky as a kid. Many of us were back then, and I was certainly one of them. Didn't always have the most movement in my life. I grew up in Virginia, East Coast, where it was not just hot, it was humid. So going outside and playing was not the most fun thing in the world. I like to stay inside in the air conditioning and just chill out in front of the TV. So that resulted in weight, right? That it's not the
Yeah,
best environment for healthiness for kids. And I will say when I ended up getting into college, that's probably where I did lose some weight for the first time.
mhm,
Mostly because I was the starving student. I moved from Virginia to California and I struck it out on my own. It was almost like a fresh start for myself. Didn't always have the funds, and so I couldn't always afford the food. So naturally, you lose some weight. Not the healthiest way to do it, though, right? And there's a reason I'm sharing all this because there's different ways to lose weight. There's the temporary weight loss situations, and there's the sustainable weight loss situations. And that college one was not sustainable. That was based on current environment and situation. That was not going to last because as soon as I had the funds again, what did I do? I went back to the old habits and got the food I enjoyed, right?
yes,
Yeah, and then that went into my career life and so forth. So here's what happened. So in 2020, um, I got to a bad point. It was the most I ever weighed in my entire life. Okay, and, everybody might be thinking about what else happened in 2020. In March of 2020, something happened to the world where everything shut down. I'm not gonna mention names of things or anything, but the world essentially shut down. We're all stuck inside our houses, right? And so
yes,
figuring out how do we get food? And so I started ordering food from places like Sam's Club and Costco, which delivered lots of nice giant boxes of packaged foods. I gained even more weight. And I got to the point in April, I think it was, where I definitely I was at the most weight I was ever at in my life. I stopped weighing myself because I did not want to even see where I was anymore. So I can't honestly say exactly how much weight I lost, but based on the last weigh-in I did, and kind of estimating how much more I gained, from 2020 to 2022, my weight loss in total was about 80 pounds, 80
Wow.
pounds.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll explain how that happened, because basically when I got to May of 2020 and I was feeling so bad, I was on some mailing lists, some email lists. Apparently, I bought some Tony Robbins CDs, DVDs in the past, and they got my email, and
Yes.
I was used to seeing all those emails and usually just ignored. I didn't wanna buy stuff, but then for some reason, I caught this one email that said something about free, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I like that. I like the price of free," right? I'm a CPA, keeping the cost down. That's always amazing. I see you like that too, Yayoi.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, what is free?" And it was this free seminar kind of a thing. It's this online seminar. I was like, "Oh, it's starting this week. Why don't I jump in and do it?" So I did that. That was Tony's free comeback challenge back in I think it was May of 2020. It's been so long ago now.
Yeah, I think so because that's,
Yeah,
where I started, and well, that's how Josh and I actually met through Tony Robbins, the
yes,
Tony Robbins world. Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
absolutely. That's a whole other maybe that's another podcast episode
Yes.
involving Japanese translation and things like
Yes.
that. So, let's fast forward here or go backward in time rather to May of 2020 when I'm at this comeback challenge, and it's this online thing. I'm still working at the time. A lot of people lost their jobs. I was so grateful I did not lose mine. I was able to work remotely just fine. I was at a company I'd been at for a long time. Really enjoyed that part of my life. And the wonderful thing about that part of history is that I could work from home. So I could, on one computer, have my job, on the other computer, have Tony Robbins at the same time. And, don't tell my boss. He's retired now, so he doesn't care anymore. But, that's what I was doing, and I took a few hours each day. Tony says, like, "Okay, it's gonna be a 1 hour per day seminar." Tony, it's like 3 or 4 hours later, I'm still on it.
Yes. Oh, yes, we've been through
Yes,
that.
yes, which I'm not complaining. I mean, hey,
No, no.
especially back then, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great. I'm getting, like,
Yeah.
so much more than just a free quick thing."
Yes,
It was
yes,
is
yes.
actually content and things that were so, so valuable.
Mhm.
And, in addition to the content, he had all of this stuff that was about movement. The whole thing started with music, and there
Yeah.
was I'm not gonna name names, there was a host at the time who had a song they walked out to, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." And then, like, "Alright, everybody get up and dance." I was like, "What? Okay, well, I'm at home, I don't care." So I get up and I'm dancing around and stuff. Nobody's seeing me. And
Yep, exactly.
I think this is where they first had some other movement people. I think, again, I'm not gonna name names here, but there's the guy who does these movements, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know my body bends that way even." And
Yes.
and I was like, "Wow, this showed me a lot of blind spots in my movement." And so I went through that at that program, and I think they also have the exercise group who was doing stuff,
Yes.
which actually also had a free thing, so I signed up for that and did it on my own. So that was the starting of my movement. Not particularly the food quite yet, but the movement piece. And also, if you're aware of anything Tony does or any other, coaching program does, there's the funnel concept, which I had no clue about at the time. I was just like, "Oh, this is this great free thing he's gifting back to the world," which he was actually. I mean, that was
Yeah.
an amazing event too.
Oh, yeah,
And he was
especially during
yes.
during COVID. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it was
You
during
said
that
it. You
time.
said it.
I said
It's like a drinking game. You got to take a drink every time you say it.
a drink of
Uh,
water then.
there you go. Yes. Let's clear. I don't have my water next to me. But I'll just do my virtual water here. And anyway, where am I going with this? So yes, they did talk about
Mhm.
what's the next step. Here's this thing called UPW, which you can do coming up. I believe it was June or July that same year. And it was cheap because I remembered way back when, I'm not new to Tony. I had something called a cassette tape with Tony on it that should give
Oh,
you a sense
wow.
of how long ago I was starting to listen to him. And I actually saw
Yes.
him in person speaking at a unrelated, like a real estate event.
Oh, wow.
And I remember thinking that was another one where he was supposed to be on stage for an hour. It was like 3 hours later, he's still speaking. Hey,
Yes.
not complaining.
Mhm.
Bonus Tony time is always a good thing for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And, so bottom line is I'd seen him before. I knew about UPW. I knew it
Yeah.
cost thousands of dollars to go to
Mhm.
that thing.
Mhm.
And at the end of this event, when they said it was like $300, I was like, "Oh my gosh, how can I say no to that?"
Yes.
So I went all in on that. It's not free, but $300, that's a huge discount.
I got into that. That's how I got in as well, because
Yes.
normally it's like add a 0 to that, you know? And, yes, and I joined you. I was on the first, virtual UPW, Unleash the Power Within of Tony's, and I think that was the one, right, that you were on as well?
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was it the one where it was
Oh, the
interesting.
lightning struck, remember?
I was gonna say it was interesting technologically speaking, because yeah,
Yeah.
lightning used to hit the studio and crash the whole thing. They figured out how to fix that now, by the way.
Okay.
That has not happened for many, many years now. They fixed. I mean, I don't even see the main stage disappearing at all anymore like it used to in those. So if you're listening to this, if you've never been to a Tony Virtual, like it is so smooth now. It's not even close to what we're talking about here. This was like you can imagine that Tony is very ambitious. He starts a brand new thing. He had a
Yeah.
studio that originally had like so many cameras that he could see, like surrounding and stuff, and they just realized what they had to do to tweak things over time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, those are the fun days, and I remember, like, there was an echo on the sound and all kinds of fun stuff, but
Yeah.
it was part of the pioneering days, right? We were on
Yes.
the forefront of the Tony
Yes.
Robbins virtual expansion, and
Yes, that's true.
yeah, so glad that they continue that because so many people around the world can participate, including me. So, going back to that UPW, it was like a one-two punch going from the comeback challenge, which got that spark going for me with the health, and then the UPW was locking it in more, because they had a whole health day on one of those days,
Yes.
and about all the toxins and stuff, and, all the emotional stuff too, that plays such a big role in the health journey is the emotions.
Yes.
And again, I didn't know this was a whole funnel system at the time, but once we got through UPW, they're like, hey, by the way, there's all this other stuff called, Master University and Date with Destiny. Um,
All of it. Yes.
I honestly didn't go all in at first. I just wanted to do Date with Destiny. That's what I was looking for at that time in my life. And so
Ah,
I
okay.
went into that one directly and thinking, I'm not going to do these other ones. They had this life mastery thing. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this health stuff. The wealth mastery, like, oh, I'm a CPA. I don't need that. So I just went right into Date with Destiny. And the reason I'm being so specific about these is because there is a pattern here. So the comeback challenge is what started it. It's like the ignition for me.
Mhm.
At UPW, that was like taking it for the test drive, right? And saying, okay, well, this stuff might work for me. We continued with that exercise group that was coming on stage and dancing
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything. The guy who
Mhm.
was twisting us into pretzels and everything.
Right.
Uh, and I get so between that and Date with Destiny, which was from June to December, I
Yes.
continued on my own. And you might recall earlier when I talked here right today, I mentioned I was the most I ever weighed.
Yes.
So I'm going to estimate that was about. I'll use numbers here. If you talked to me a couple years ago, I would never tell you the numbers on a scale because I was so ashamed and embarrassed by this. But I'm pretty open about this now. So I was around 240 or 250. That's pounds, right? 240,
Mhm.
250 pounds was my top.
Right. Right.
And basically from May until that December, so we're talking 2020, May 2020 to
Mhm.
December 2020, I actually lost quite a bit. I was down into where was I actually? Yeah, I was down quite a bit. Um, so maybe it wasn't 250. I think, yeah, I used to have these numbers down cold. I think it was 240 is where I topped out at because then I was down in like the 190s by December of that year.
Okay.
We're talking 6 months. If you go from 240 to 190, that's like 50 pounds. Um,
Yeah.
and
That's
it's
that's
a
pretty
lot of weight.
impressive. It
And
is. It is.
it's a combination of this chain reaction I'm talking about with the comeback challenge, the UPW, and then I went into Date with Destiny.
Yes.
Yeah, between UPW and Date with Destiny, that was the core like 6 month period where I was really exercising. I learned from the event. I was exercising on my own.
Mhm.
I was starting to eat differently as well because of
Yes.
the speaker, your friend Joseph McClendon III.
My
He he
mentor, yes.
he scared that stuff into me. I got to tell you, talking about all the toxins and showing the pictures of the meat and everything. Oh,
Yes.
I was
Yes.
like, I'm not going to eat that stuff anymore. So for 6 months, I was on this full on health journey, eating so much better. No more packaged stuff from Sam's Club and Costco. I was moving every single day. I was moving with that exercise
Mhm.
group, and it was fun and exciting.
Mhm.
And the fact that we were all stuck at home,
Yes.
that guaranteed I had time, right? I
Yes.
wasn't commuting,
Exactly.
I wasn't traveling on vacations.
Mhm.
I controlled my schedule. So
Right.
there
Right.
no excuses. All right.
Mhm.
So when I got to that Date with Destiny, I was already touting to people I was meeting with, like, oh my gosh, I've lost all this
Mhm.
weight and I have more to go.
Mhm.
And so I made a commitment there to keep going. And basically over 21 and 22, which, by the way, spoiler alert, ended up signing up for all the other Mastery University stuff, so I did go to Life Mastery. Yeah. And that's what, took off the rest of the pounds to get me from the 190s down
Yes.
to the lowest I got was 159 pounds.
Wow, wow.
So going from
Congratulations.
240 to 159. You
That
gotta do
is
the math. I'm a CPA, never
yeah.
asked a CPA to do math. That's why we have spreadsheets and calculators. And, 100 years ago,
That's
we had the abacus, right?
that's impressive. That
Yeah.
is really impressive. And I mean, basically, all these programs that you did with Tony really talked about health, and I know,
Mm.
well, in the Tony world and also a lot of personal development world, it's not just, the mind, it's really the whole person, the physical as well as the spiritual and the psychological part. So and I know Life Mastery was really focused on the body and our physical health. And I know that, yes, my mentor, Joseph, does the health day at UPW. And he himself is, I mean, such a, great example of health. At 70, I think he's 73 now, or no, 72 or something. And
Yeah.
I mean, he looks amazing, right? He's very, very healthy. He's very conscious. And, it was a great influence. I remember even I was like, well, I've always had my history with Weight Watchers and doing other things and being a health coach, but it really made me rethink everything and kind of revamp everything as well. So I totally get how you were inspired by that. And yes, I went all in the Tony world and I went through Master University. So I took all the courses and that's how Josh and I actually met was at the Date with Destiny. I think we met at the first Date with Destiny, right? We were in the same group. And
Oh,
that's
I lost track. There's been
yeah.
so many of those things.
Yeah, I think it was one of those that we met and then because of Japanese background and all this and that, we kind of like, yeah, connected and, we started talking, and then we realized that we're both Star Wars fans, and we also could relate with the weight health issues that we both had. So it was a great connection that we had. And I know you were saying that like 50 pounds is quite a lot of weight, and it's a different lifestyle. And, it's like you were saying, at the time, we were all working from home
Mhm.
and it was conducive to us well, it was easier for us to take care of our personal lives as we were working,
Yes.
and I think as the situation in the world changed and many of us were asked to come back to the work to, what do you call into the office,
Mhm.
things started changing a little bit, and I think all of our schedules changed, and, we had to readjust a lot of things.
Oh,
So
yeah. And
mhm.
I would say it's not even the return to office mandates. It was vacation time.
Ah,
Traveling again, hey, going out to eat with people again. That's what started
I
it.
forgot about that.
And
Yeah.
one other thing I'll say before I get to that stage was after that life mastery I talked about, which was, like, 21 or 22, I
Mhm.
forget which year I did it. I actually went full on vegan, not vegetarian, vegan for a full year of
Oh.
my life.
Oh, I didn't
And
know that. Okay.
yes, because of life mastery, I was like, "Hey,
Mhm.
this is actually doable," and I found some local grocery stores that had the stuff I could use for that lifestyle,
Oh,
and I felt it was the best energy I've ever felt in my life, and I was feeling so healthy. A lot of my health issues actually went away entirely that I'd been
oh,
feeling,
wow.
previously in my life during that 1 year,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "Wow, this is it. This is my life forever." Now get to the point you're bringing up. Okay, we have to go back to the office. We're going on the travel and everything again. There's a key difference between going to the grocery store, having vegan stuff at home versus being on vacation somewhere where it's like, oh, people don't even know what vegan means. Going to the office where it's like, oh, yeah, we'll give you some snacks and some healthy options, but it's like full of sodium and sugar and meat.
Yes.
And yeah, so that's where everything shifted. As I think that's where you're taking us, right? Is that,
Yeah.
not I'm not the only
More challenges. Yeah.
exactly. I'm not the only one this happened to. It's happened to a lot of
Yeah.
us.
Oh, yeah.
And That's where it shifted, right? At first, it was like, okay, yeah, it's just a temporary celebration because, yes, the world is back to normal and let's go and celebrate. And so I go out for a few dinners. I travel to see my family, out in Michigan, who I haven't seen in forever, and had some drinks with them and stuff like that. And yeah, return to office too. It's like you're kind of stuck with what there's to eat over there. I could make my food, but who wants to do that? Who wants to make your own lunch to bring in, right? When they have a nice cafe there. And, that's the food part. The other part is the movement part, right? Because
Mhm.
when you're at the office, I can't just take a 5-minute break to go exercise, unless I wanna look strange in the middle of the office and sweat all over everything. Uh, when I'm on vacation, it's like, yeah, they got some gyms at the hotel sometimes, but it's not the same equipment I use. I personally use the rebounder. That's my tool of choice when it comes to exercise, and they don't exactly have rebounders at the gyms at the hotels and stuff, right? Or my friends and family's homes. So it's like, okay, at first it's this temporary thing, like, oh, it's just a week and I'll come back and catch up, right? Or like, oh, just maybe a few days a week in the office and I'll catch up the other days. And then you start to get tired and then you start to have other things come up and it just all snowballs into this thing of like, you know what? There's just I feel there's not enough time anymore for this vegan and this exercise. So how bad can it really be, right? I'm down to like, by the way, 159 was my bottom. That's because I just wanted to see I could get to the 150s again. My true
Uh-huh.
target was 165, right? And that's gonna be
Okay.
in a moment.
Okay.
So 165 is where my optimal BMI index is. That's
Uh-huh.
why I'm
Okay.
not overweight or obese.
Mhm.
I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, 165. I can stick around here with this stuff. And then, the 165 creeps up to 170. I'm like, 170 isn't too bad. I'm still the lowest I've been in a long time. And, over the course of like 2, 3, 4 years, is like 170 becomes 175, becomes 180, 185, 190. Oh my gosh. And, spoiler alert here again. I did not get all the way back to 240. But I did get back up to, I think my top was 215 maybe, more recently. Yeah. So when was that? So 22 or 23 is when that kind of creep up started, and now we're in
Mhm.
26. So you can see it's not overnight, but if you let this go, it can easily creep back over the years. If you're thinking, 5 pounds isn't too bad, another 5 pounds isn't too bad.
Yeah.
It becomes a habit, right? And
Yep.
I realized one other important thing is when we went back and had the temptation of the restaurant food and everything, it's not just about the environmental changes. It's the fact that, the new habits I built, it was over the course of 2 years, right? I lost all this weight over 2 years. My life, should I tell you my age? I guess if I told you my weight, I'm okay telling you how old I am. So I'm currently
It's up to you. It's up to you,
I'm in my 50s, my early
Okay.
50s.
Okay.
And so we're talking about I was in my mid 40s at the time of this story.
Mhm.
And so if you're thinking 2 years out of, let's say, 45 years, that's 43 years of all these other habits I've been stacking and building that were very unhealthy. So what's 2
Yeah.
years gonna do to 43 years of history, right? It's not if they have a fight, what's
Yeah.
gonna win in that battle, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So all the old habits started to come back,
Yep.
right?
Mhm. Yes.
If it's
Totally.
that thing that everybody's gotta watch out for. We can build the new habits, but we really have to nurture them. We have to take care of them.
Yes.
It's like when you have a baby, you can't just take care of it for a year or 2 and then say, "Go do what you're gonna do." You gotta keep taking care of
Consistency.
it as it grows up and builds and develops and forms, right? It's the same with this health journey. And I that's what I did with the baby. I was like, "Okay, you go take care of yourself now," and that didn't happen, right? It's just
Yep.
not gonna be possible yet.
Yes.
And, so now here we are, 2026. It was kind of feeling to me like 2020 again, where I was back to this high weight I didn't wanna be. I actually had made the promise to myself earlier I was never gonna be in the 200s again, and here I am. And so
Mhm.
I was already feeling this shame from that, like I disciplined
Yeah.
myself, right? I went against my
Right.
identity.
Right.
And by the way, I became a Tony Robbins trainer, and that's not a good thing to lose control of yourself. It's not just about the weight, to be honest. It's about being in control of our own state, our own emotions, and
Yes.
getting to this
Yes.
point with my health is not being in control of my own state and emotions.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's a whole other dynamic behind that. I know, we don't have 2 hours for this thing, so I won't go into it. Let's just say that the last year was challenging, and
Yes.
I would say that's where a lot of the weight crept back in that got me to the 215
Yeah.
was because stuff with the company I work at,
Mhm.
all companies have been going through all kinds of shifts with personnel
Yes.
and stuff.
Mhm.
So lots of things that really made me question my identity in life. and
Yes.
gave me a lot of emotional, challenges that were perceived challenges I had emotionally,
Mhm. Yeah.
and that's where a lot of the weight came back and just the old habits took over.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that word you said, identity,
Yeah.
because that is key to a lot of this weight health, well, just anything really in personal development, because your old identity started creeping back in,
Mhm.
basically. And like you were saying, that if we don't nurture it, so it's that consistency, the repetition part of personal development, where we say if you want to change a habit, it has to be consistent and we have to repeat it. And that's the part that you were talking about. Yeah. So I know you had a bit of a breakthrough or a change of you wanted to change your identity earlier this year, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So sorry. Go ahead.
So, first of all, I never need for anybody to be sorry in this world, especially you.
Well, I
You
kind of felt like I interrupted your flow.
no, no,
So,
you bring some magic to this world, let me tell you.
oh,
If you're
thank
listening and don't know Yayoi, she brings the magic every
oh,
time.
thank
Yeah.
you.
So, as you were alluding to just now, 2026 comes. I honestly, I had a lot of fun over the holidays, let me tell you. Yeah, a little too much fun, and I gained some more weight in December. For me, it's about the food and drink, social drinking with the alcohol and stuff. Beer is my drink of choice, which means it's
Mm,
very high calorie, very intensive
yes,
calories. It's not like I'm sipping wine. I'm like chugging the beers, having some fun with my buddies out there, and it's not gonna be conducive to weight loss, right? Or maintaining
yeah,
a lower weight. So January 1st comes, I made the commitment to myself. Okay, this is the last alcoholic drink I'm gonna have. My plan is for the whole calendar year actually to not have alcohol, and so far that's
mhm.
worked. I haven't not had alcohol at all since January 1st. That was like a bit of sake for the New Year, and, with my omakase set for, to bring in the Japanese New Year, and, basically, that has in itself helped a lot with the weight loss and with my energy level too. Uh,
Yes, yes,
yeah, because it's not conducive to a health journey very much.
yeah. Well, alcohol is basically sugar,
Yeah.
and
Beer,
yeah,
especially, yeah. All
yes,
the
yes,
fermentation and the stuff that comes out, oh my gosh, it's really bad
yeah.
for the body, but, um
But it is fun. I mean, so it has to be in moderation,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so that was one part,
Mhm.
and then I realized, okay, we're going into there's the 2026 year, on the American calendar, and there's also the Lunar New Year coming up,
Yes,
which is Year of the Fire Horse, and
yes.
that's a year of huge transitional, transformational change, which I
Mhm.
like, okay, here's my opportunity. And, call me superstitious, whatever you want, but it's whatever it is, it's like whatever you do to get yourself motivated, right?
Yes, yes, agreed.
And I have some friends who are big believers in that too. And so I got a peer group who I'm in who like, hey, let's all make some big changes in life this year.
Mhm.
At the same time, I randomly came across somebody I knew was offering some coaching services because he keeps a limited pool of coaching clients. I was like,
Mhm.
"Hey, what the heck? Why not?" And I reached
Mhm.
out to him and I signed up with him, and that was amazing because here's the thing, um, we wanna build our new identities, but what else do we have to do if we want a new identity? We have to get rid of the old one. We have to clear it out. Maybe we don't ever get rid of some of it 100%, right? But we wanna clear out the old junk that's associated with that.
Yes.
That was
Mhm.
a missing piece for me in my, personal development journey. I cleared
Ah.
some of the stuff, but not everything.
Mhm.
And this guy, he helped me clear everything, like,
Aw,
I mean, he went deep with this stuff,
that's great.
and it was amazing, and I felt, "Okay, now there's a space for something new to come in."
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
because you do have to it's like that decluttering, right? You
yes,
have to take out the stuff that no longer serves you so that you can have room in because there's only so much you can hold, so you have to clear it out so that you can welcome the new things into your life, so yes.
exactly, and I love the decluttering metaphor because if you think of somebody's house, you can bring in the most beautiful brand new set of furniture and everything, but if you still got, like, boxes of your old, like, papers from like when your parents passed away. I'm talking about me personally here, by the way, because my parents both passed away like not too long ago. Then, well, now it's like 6 years ago. But if you still have all this stuff laying around, you bring in beautiful new stuff. That old stuff's still there, right?
yeah,
still taking up
yeah,
space, and you can only do so much with the space you got.
yeah, exactly.
So that clearing helped a lot. And then,
Good.
there was this WhatsApp group. So there's a person in the Tony, trainer senior leader
Mhm.
community who set up a WhatsApp group, which is, around this concept called 75 hard, HARD.
Okay.
So if
Uh-huh.
anybody wants to Google it, you may have heard about it. It's a thing that lots of people are doing apparently.
Okay.
And, there's a whole process and protocol to it, but I gotta
Mhm.
say, the thing I love about the group I joined about it is the flexibility because they're not like, "Oh, you have to do this and this and this," right? If you wanna
Mhm.
go full out and do it, that's great because 'cause you're supposed to,
Yeah.
like, post pictures of yourself every single day and, like, read X amount of pages every day, and it's beyond just the health part,
Right, right.
and it's pretty hardcore, but this group that the person set up, it's a nice WhatsApp group and very supportive and saying, "Hey, here's if you wanna follow it to the letter of the law, here it is, but by the way, whatever you wanna do, you do."
Yeah,
And so many of us in the group are doing what we do. And
that's wonderful. Yeah.
yeah, and I didn't exactly go on there, like, "Oh, yeah, let's go." Um, 2 people told me about it, say, "Hey, here's the link if you wanna join." It took, like, a friend of mine who's like I was like, "Yeah, I heard about that." She actually added me to the group. She's like, "I'm pulling you in here whether you want it or not."
Good for her.
Sometimes you need that kinda leverage in your life, right?
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
And then I'm in there, I'm like, "Oh, hello, everybody." And
I
I
don't know
still
why I'm really here, but yeah,
I didn't start right away.
yeah.
I actually just kinda watched what other people were doing,
Mhm.
and then there was a day where somebody in the group said, "Hey, I've been kinda quiet." Not me, somebody else said they were being kinda quiet, and said, "Okay, on March 1st, I'm gonna start this for myself." I was like, "Okay, there's somebody else doing it, I'll do it on March 1st too." And that's what got me in.
Mhm.
And I committed to just wanting to get movement in again. I wasn't committed to anything with the food,
Mhm.
which is much different than the last time because
Right,
it was a huge food focus for me in the last time. I was like, I'm going to
right.
start with the movement and really focus on that this time by
Mhm.
itself.
Yes.
Um, Earlier this year, I was getting sick a lot, probably because I was so heavy.
Mhm.
And I had some problems with my knees again because I'm so heavy walking around on all this weight on my knees. And so I was like, I'm just going to start with some walking, right? Make it
Yes.
easy and
Mhm.
make it sustainable. So
Yes,
I
yes.
did that for about a month. It was all about the walking, just going and walking
Mhm.
outside, sometimes
Mhm.
like 10 minutes, sometimes 30. I got up to an hour. Started to walk around the neighborhood more. I got pretty far out there.
Mhm.
I think one day I got like a 2-hour walk in, which is pretty
Wow.
cool, just on a Sunday afternoon, just going all over the place.
Right.
And then from there, I was like, hey, now I'm starting to lose some weight. I'm starting to feel a bit lighter. I can start to do more. So I dusted off my rebounder, pulled it out of the side storage there, and started to use again. Again, starting off with 5 or 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Um, and I remembered I enjoyed that. And so I started to, I don't know if people know about the chunking concept, but Tony loves chunking. Where
Yes.
it's like you take 2 different concepts and just bring them together so you can do them at the same time kind of a thing, right?
Right. Mhm.
Marrying them together. So what I started to do, which made this a lot more sustainable, was while I was rebounding, I would also watch TV, right? So I'd watch maybe a 30-minute TV show while I'm doing it.
Mhm. Right.
And then as I expanded, I started to watch, oh, let me watch part of a movie while I'm doing this, right? And I started watching some sporting events. I watched like the Masters golf tournament final round. I watched like March Madness while I'm on this thing.
Right.
And you start to lose track of time. I'm like, oh, and I'm doing 60 minutes per day easily on the rebounder. Um,
Wow.
and as like, May the 4th comes and it's Star Wars Day, I was like, let me do my Star Wars movie marathon. So I watched, I think it was Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back, one of the two while I'm reboundering. And all
Wow.
of a sudden I got like a 90-minute rebounder session in
Mhm.
while I'm doing it.
Wow. Wow.
That one, by the way, that's my top. I can't do beyond 90. That's pretty exhausting
Oh,
at that
that's I mean,
point.
even 60 is impressive to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that really started this rebounder habit for me
Mhm.
every day
Oh,
of
that's great.
sustainable movement. And,
Mhm.
even though I do enjoy watching the programs while I'm doing it, I
Right.
started to notice a little bit of fatigue creeping in with that. So
Mhm.
in some of the movies or TV shows, I like, oh, I want to take a rest here or something. So I was like, maybe this isn't as sustainable as I think.
Mhm.
And what ended up happening was, I think it was because I did get sick again from something. I caught like there's lots of viruses going around nowadays. So I caught one of those. So I couldn't exercise as much, but I still managed to get in some light walking, right?
Mhm.
Here was the difference is like in the past, I would have said, I'm sick. I'll just skip a few days of the movement.
Right.
Actually, I got my Apple Watch keeping me accountable. I continued the same level of movement every day by walking. And so
Ah,
I found a way to make it work, right? Just
mhm,
lightened it up a bit.
right.
And then from there, I started to do some light dancing, just kind of like watching YouTube
Mhm.
music videos from the '80s and '90s and dancing around on my hardwood floors or,
Yes,
sliding around and having some fun. Uh,
yes,
if you ever saw the movie Risky Business and, he
yes,
always kinda slides across and
I know.
in his
Yes.
socks. I was fully clothed. I wasn't, I wasn't fully like him in the movie. But, the socks part was there.
Right.
And, um and that was actually there was a brilliance that came out of that. The universe I'm not talking my own brilliance, I'm talking the universe gave me, like, some magic in that moment because when I was doing that dancing, I was like, "Oh, shoot, this might be the thing." So what happened was when I got better and I started doing the rebounder again, I kept
Mhm,
watching those YouTube music videos
mhm.
and bouncing on the rebounder to them, and that bouncing turned into dancing on the rebounder.
Ah,
And I started coming up with these moves just out of nowhere and just having so
uh-huh,
much fun with it and being creative and enjoying it. And now I look forward to that, like my afternoon or evening dance session on the rebounder. Like I look forward to it every day. It's not one of these, oh, I got to do this kind of a thing. I am actually
right.
excited to do it.
Mhm.
And when something gets in my way, I'm like, dude, you can't stop me from doing this. I want to do this. And sometimes I'm like doing 60 minutes past. I'm like, oh, I want to do
Wow.
this some more, right? And then it's some
Yeah,
Spanish, 70 or 80 minutes. And that's the difference this time versus previously.
yeah, and sorry to interrupt, but I'm,
Oh,
like,
that's
thinking,
right.
no, this is because you were able to well, this of course, the chunking helped and also to get creative and make it fun because, with all of this, especially activity, I know that when you feel like all of us, right? I mean, the whole "I'll start on Monday" concept of "I'll go to the gym on Monday, I'll go to the gym on Monday." It's because you're thinking, "I have to do this," right? Whereas "I want to do this" is a totally different feel and different energy. And I think that you hit on something really powerful because finding that even with the walking, you modified it so that it was fun. And then when you went back to rebounding, you made it something that was fun for you. And I think a lot of us forget that if something's not working, then what can you do to make it more fun for yourself? And I think we forget that element because everything is supposed to be so serious. But I think we have to remember that life is supposed to be fun, right? Or make it as fun as you can because, life can be hard. So try to get in as much fun and laughter. And it's like my mentor always says, smile because that dopamine release is so important. And when you're having fun, you're smiling. I'm
Yes.
sure when you're dancing, you're smiling because you're having so much fun.
Absolutely. It is a beautiful, beautiful feeling. And I gotta tell you, you mentioned the word fun. So I found the perfect Star Wars dancing crossover. I discovered a disco version of the Star Wars theme song. And
Oh,
well, I rocked out to that on the rebounder one day. I think Mecco is the name of the artist. If you look it up on Spotify, you can find her. Say
okay,
Disco Star Wars.
okay.
They throw in the Cantina Band disco style and everything. It's a blast.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course, I went to see, Mandalorian and Grogu yesterday, so
Right.
talking about Star
No,
Wars, but
yeah.
yeah, so no, you have to have fun, I love that you shifted things around, and I know with the 75 hour, I think you had mentioned to me that you lost about 25 pounds already since March, is that
Yeah,
correct?
so
Mhm,
I have been tracking my weight very closely since March 1st. So
mhm,
I started at 213.2 pounds on March 1st.
wow,
And as of now I'm in the 180s. I lost track, but it was 25 and a half pounds is the lowest
wow,
I've gotten to now.
well,
And yes,
congratulations,
and
wow.
it's an amazing feeling. It really
Oh,
is.
yeah. Yeah, and, I mean, I could see it in your smile and your energy, and, I think, and it's something that you should be proud of course, me going like
Oh,
this.
put up
I'm
your
always like,
hand.
"Yeah," and pat yourself on the back.
In the words of Joseph McClellan
Yes,
III, yes.
yes, and I always do this because I always say I have to do double taps on my
Oh, I like that. That's great. I'm
yeah,
gonna do
I
that
do
one now.
double taps. I was like,
Yeah.
I deserve all the credit, right?
Oh,
So
man, I'm getting some great coaching from this thing.
that's just a habit of mine now, so, well, Joseph neuro encoded me on all of this, and, but really celebration is so important,
Yes. Yes.
and that's why I wanted to ask you to come onto this because I wanted to celebrate your loss because it all by celebrating, you also reinforce the good feeling and what you've achieved, and it's so important that people recognize what they've achieved and celebrate that, and I think a
Yes.
lot of us don't do that. We forget to celebrate ourselves, celebrate our achievements. And, we say, no, it's a good, but blah, 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 right? And I think you need to be proud of the achievements you've made because it's not an easy thing. But you've made it fun. You've made it something that you can continue to do. And I think that's what's so important. And of course, the health benefits are just so important. And, I mean, the smile on your face just says it all. So I think it's so important that, and I really am, happy for you and I congratulate you on this. It's so, like I said, I'm just so proud that you were able to do this and to have the community. Like you were saying, you have that WhatsApp group is so important. And I've noticed that, with a lot of people that I talk to, when it comes to weight health, it's the consistency,
Mm.
fun, and community is so
Yes.
important because
Absolutely.
and with any well, with as being a trainer in Tony Robbins' world, you know that having that community of like-minded people around you, Tony always says the 5 people you surround yourself with are so important because they influence who you become, your identity. And gosh, we touched on so many good concepts today.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, can I just say, so
yes.
what you're talking about with the celebration community, so the
Mhm,
75 Hard WhatsApp group I'm in,
mhm,
that's a huge part of the journey too, because and it made a shift for me too, because at first it was about accountability. It's like, okay, I've got to post. I posted an image of my Apple Watch results every day. Right. It's
mhm.
like, okay, so
Oh,
I can't lie about this thing. This is pure
right.
accountability. Whatever I do is
Yeah.
there. And so that started me off. What kept me going later was the mutual celebration in that group because we all celebrate each other in our milestones. And that's been one of the most amazing things about that group, which by the way, I talk so much about this movement because it's so key. I haven't even focused on the food this time in my health journey. Like that's a big difference from last time because when I focused on the food last time, I felt like there was this sacrifice going on. Like I can't just go out and eat at the restaurant like I like to
Right,
if I want to
right.
keep eating on. This time I start with movement. My body naturally wants less food now because of the movement.
Yes.
And I'm eating the things I always eat. I'm just eating less of it now. I'm still going out to restaurants. I'm still sometimes having a dessert. I'm
Mhm.
still doing things. I just don't feel like I'm sacrificing on the food this time. That's the other reason why this, I believe, is sustainable this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like I always say, and it's not about the food. It's really about the mindset
Yes.
and your identity
Yes.
and how you create that. So, a lot of us, when we talk about releasing weight, we always say we have to go on a diet, where it's like, diets. I don't believe in diets. I think they're too restrictive. And I'm, you know, I'm like most people. I think most people feel this way too. When you're told you have to do something very rigid, people just want to break out of that.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that's human nature. And that's why I say it's not about the food, it's about how you craft things, how you think of yourself, and how you craft it to make it work for you. And I want to say sometimes, we don't have to follow the rules. You create your own rules to make it work for you. And I think that's what's so important. And you've done that for you. And I think it's such a wonderful thing. And, yeah, that's why I said, let's celebrate this, and I'm so glad that you found a group that you could celebrate things with as well. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, we could go on and on and on, but it's been, like, quite a long time already, so, so Josh, just one thing, so what are your thoughts on I'll start on Monday, and what are some tips that you might wanna give people that are listening?
Absolutely. So I say, whatever day it is today, start today. Make this your Monday, right? Every day is a Monday in that respect. I started on a Sunday. I was joking about that at the beginning. I picked something meaningful for me, which is the beginning of the month, March 1st, because I know, hey, that's easy for me to track. I know, like, okay, 1 month, 2 months. For you, it might just be, hey, I want to start when I have the energy. I feel like I can do this today. Just start when you feel like it, you know?
Yeah,
Um, and I love the whole concept you got here, Yayoi, of, just do it basically.
yeah,
Just, get up there and do it and, you know, feel who you are, find who you are, embrace who you are, celebrate that, find other people who will celebrate that with you. And, find the fun you've got and enjoy that because that's what's made the difference for me this time. This is why I 100% believe this is going to work. I'm focusing on the positive of things now, with the fun and all that, not on what I can't eat or what I have to do, but like what's fun for me that I can do every day.
yeah,
And by the way, I just naturally, want to eat these things. I can do it, as long as I'm moving and not really focused on all the negative stuff anymore.
yeah, yeah, that reframing of the
Yeah,
things. I love that, I love that. So thank you for sharing that, Josh, and thank you for being on today.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you for bringing me on. I really enjoyed this
yeah,
conversation.
no, and I think, your story can help so many people because
Mm,
I'm sure that many people can relate to what you talked about. So thank you. So,
absolutely.
e everyone, let's thank Josh, and, thank you for watching this episode, and if you enjoyed this, and feel like you want to explore this a little more, follow me here, listen to my other podcasts with other people that I've interviewed. You can also find me in the Brain to Belly community. I have a Facebook group, that you can join if you'd like, and you'll learn more of these ways that you can shift your habits and change them to to something that is sustainable and fun. And check the show notes and remember that you don't have to become somebody new. You just have to remember who you are. And it doesn't matter when you start. You can start anytime. So, on that note, I want to say thank you, everyone, and thank you for watching. I'll see you another Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or whatever. So, see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye.